Hello, friends.
Go ahead.
RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das unveiled a slew of measures yesterday to deal with the adverse impact of novel coronavirus on Indian economy. And today, the government has amended FDI rules to protect our companies. Are these measures enough to boost up our economy? To speak on this issue, we have today Ramchandran Ganpati, who is the president of South India Chamber of Commerce and Industries, and he's also managing director of IT company Trigen. Mr. Ganpati, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kanchan. Thanks for having me. Always
Mr.
a
Gan,
pleasure talking to you.
thank you. Mr. Ganpati, we would like to know what is the takeaway of yesterday's announcement of RBI governor?
So, if you ask me to give you one phrase to describe the announcement by RBI, I think he has delivered big time. I think over the last, between his previous press meet and what happened yesterday, as a chamber, we have been writing to him, we have been writing to government about industry needs across verticals. And I think the most stressed sector was the NBFC sector. And I think NBFC sector's role should never be undermined because they are the last mile deliverer to the economy. And if you look at it that way, NBFC sector needed that dose which was delivered yesterday. It has brought a lot of confidence and cheer amongst them. And I think it should stand them in good stead. We can't we can't forecast how the economy is going to, when the economy is going to pick up. But from purely from a sustaining level and also from an operational perspective, I think whatever was done yesterday was absolutely outstanding from a business standpoint.
Is this going to boost the lending of the bank?
See, I think he has pushed the banks to a situation where for them to earn their daily bread, they have to lend more. You know, they have to hit the market and lend for their own survival because the repo is not going to be paying off as it used to be. Previously, they could just park their money and then get comforted by that fact that they were earning on it. But today, I think as that rate goes down rapidly and with the potential perhaps to even go less, I think the banks will have to reach out to clients and then lend. And I think previously there was a little bit of risk taking that the banks were doing that has completely disappeared in the past, at least in the recent past. I think some minimum risks banks will have to take going forward. And this should see the system being injected with a lot of liquidity.
Some banking experts have suggested that NPA rules should be relaxed. I mean, do you agree with this?
100%. In fact, I am for even taking a more rigorous step in suspending the NPA rules for a year, keep it in abeyance, and also suspend IBC rules completely. Keep IBC in abeyance for a year. I think, this is coming out of, this is like a medically induced coma. When you come out, if I can use that expression, when you come out of it, we don't know the collateral damage that it has done to the human body in a medically induced coma. Or you can even describe it as a cold start. And we don't know how the industry, the ecosystem, the supply chain, etc. will behave. This is for the first time where you're seeing a destruction of both the supply and the demand side. It's never happened before, at least not during our lifetimes. People have told me that it happened during the World War II or the Great Recession. I didn't live then to realize it, the consequences. But today you're feeling the complete destruction of both the supply and the demand side. And I think unusual scenarios call for unusual steps. Heavens are not going to fall if the IBC is to be suspended or the NPA rules kept at abeyance. Give companies liquidity, inject them, and allow them to come out of it. See, can we conclusively say that status quo ante will be restored in 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters? I think it's a long haul. and companies must be given that headroom to to recover, come out, and start building profits. I think it's a good idea to suspend, keep NPA at abeyance, but along with that, keep the IBC also in abeyance. And also, we need to ensure that a lot of statutory dues that companies pay in terms of income tax, lowering of GST, and also, PF contribution, EPF, etc., etc. All these things we need to be a little more innovative, at least for a year, and then review it after a year. Where are we after 1 year after the complete start lockdown? Once the lockdown is completely removed, from there on 1 year, give them the elbow room. Allow. See, it's like a child being born and standing up. It takes about a year. I think we need to give that kind of a time. In fact, as we speak, I got news from a relative who said my child has begun to crawl today. Now, even for the industry to crawl, it's going to take some time. And during that, you don't need any disturbance, right? I think allow them to function, allow them to regain their market share, allow them to scale up, then get back to business of government coming in to collect revenues, etc. I think you need to take some never before taken steps to get the economy back in shape. And I think government is conscious about it. They may not act entirely on day one. If you see, it's not often that you see the Reserve Bank governor coming and talking about economy and then activating it twice in a month, right? We've never seen that before. So he realizes it's unusual. Government realizes it's unusual. I do expect the finance minister to come with some stimulus in the next 10-15 days, or at least 10-15 days after the first semi-start, if you can call it, on 20th. Small, decisive steps, but frequently you need to take steps and keep reviewing.
What kind of stimulus industry is waiting for?
I think cash, abundance of it at low cost, get the supply back, get the consumption going, get the demand in place. And
across the sectors you're talking about?
Across the sectors. I think the first thing that should be done is on the agriculture sector. From farm to fork, whatever is needed, get it in place. Harvesting, cold storage, warehousing, logistics, the retailing, everything up to it. I think we need to quickly act. We need to get the migrant labor back. Construction must start going up. It's important that these semi-skilled and unskilled get back to work quickly.
With regards to the amendment in FDI policy, which has come today, how do you think it is going to impact companies in particular and Indian economy in general?
See, it's more a protection tool rather than a revival of the economy. If companies need foreign capital or foreign equity, leave it to them. They will attract it based on rules and regulations that exist across sectors. Sectors are defined. Some sectors, how much you can go up to. Some sectors, 100% FDI. Leave it to the companies, but don't let there not be a sly backdoor attempt to take over. I think this protects it. So there's no entrant into your house without your knowledge. There's no burglary done.
So are we moving towards socialism once again?
See, I think, this is a little unusual. It's when you're going on the highway, you do take a bypass, right? Occasionally. I think this is something like that, where you have to take a route which is not predefined so that you can come back to the main highway. I think the freeway has detours, so lay-bys and detours. I think this is one such thing where compulsions of circumstances, you are doing something different.
So Goldman Sachs, IMF, and World Bank, they had predicted that the growth of GDP would decline by 1%, and it could be around 1.5 or 1.6%. So I would just like to know what kind of feelings are there today in Indian industries, and what needs to be done now.
Some have even predicted negative growth. So which one to believe or take? I think this is a moment in life where it's going to be very, very difficult, nay, impossible to predict the growth. See, one thing you need to look at is the end game on this virus, or the last ball of this test match, if you can call it, has not yet been bowled, and we don't know how it's going to be bowled. Can we say on this date the virus disappears? It all depends on the discovery of the vaccine, or 50 to 60% herd immunity develops. You know, so it's a very unusual situation. So we don't know how many months of production that you're going to have in this year, and what kind of productive activity you're going to have during this period. So I think it's futile to even guess. I can say 2% and I might be right. I can say minus negative 0.5 and I could be right. But I think the truth may be somewhere in between. This is something where no back of the envelope calculation is going to be correct. So I think it's hazardous to guess the growth this year. FY21 has to be played by the year. It's going to be a ball by ball game, and it's only on 1 April you can 21 that you can guess what it is. It's futile to even attempt to guess.
Apart from stimulus, are you expecting something else from the government? Maybe some waiver in taxes. I don't know.
I said so. You know, I think government involvement in the revival is very important, but government relaxing many of the things is the crucial to it. And therefore, if you ask what do you expect from the government, much. And I also realize that the governments can't do as much as we want. I think there will be a midpoint where both government and industry will come and agree. And government also has its compulsions. Government needs to spread its collections across the community in the country. So I think there will be a lot of give and take. There'll be a lot of asks from the industry. There'll be a lot of gifts from the government. So how much of what, as I said, you know, qualitatively and quantitatively will start happening only when the game resumes after the interruption.
Thank you for talking with us, Mr. Ganpati. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kanchan. Bye.